How do you support and encourage students to make good choices? Having students make good and responsible decisions pulls character development and social emotional learning together. This competency reflects the ability for students to make decisions that are ethically effective and socially responsible. Living through the pandemic has shined a spotlight on the need for more developed and responsible decision making, a need that continuously shows up not just in our schools, but in everyday lives. Here are a few key principles related to responsible decision making for students. One, responsible decision making is the ability to make choices that are good for themselves and for others. The ability to understand how actions affect others, what is legal and what's socially acceptable, all go into the process of making responsible decisions. Two, attitudes, actions, and behaviors are the result of choices. The choices students have to make all have consequences. And when we promote the ability to make good choices as part of our Character Counts initiative, we are creating conditions about how one ought to behave. And when that happens in a classroom, the result is an environment that is positive and conducive to learning.
Snatching up school property, wreaking havoc in bathrooms, stealing from teachers and students. Somehow, this is the newest TikTok trend.
And after the chaos of September's school bathroom trend, a school in San Antonio banned backpacks from football games. Even more disturbing is that according to a list circulating on social media, this trend is just one in a whole list of escalating deviousness. According to the list, October's challenge is to slap a staff member.
Underage bingers secretly pre-game, pounding stomach-turning quantities of alcohol before the school dance or the big game, where alcohol is strictly banned.
Over several minutes, it's a brutal fight on these steps.
Here's a few questions to think about. Who's impacted by the decisions made by the kids? What other choices could have been made? What could have been the consequences? Why did they make the choice they did? What could go wrong? What impact could have had on the individual's short and long-term goals, reputation? What would have been a better choice? See, decision-making is tough. We know that from personal experience, right? And as adults, we make over 1,000 decisions every single day. Some are inconsequential, others have momentous consequences. I've come to realize that we make better decisions by reflecting on what we are about to do. Just like we teach our children to look both ways before they cross the street, we can and should instill the habit of looking ahead and making decisions. I like to think that every good decision starts with a stop. We must stop to recognize who else has a stake in our decision. We need to sort out facts from rumors, to evaluate the evidence and devise alternatives so we can choose the most effective and ethical choice. Stopping to think before we act also allows us to muster our moral willpower to overcome temptations. I'm probably out of my knowledge base, but it allows me to share what I have learned about brain research and the link with responsible decision making. The prefrontal cortex, that's the part of the brain that's responsible for impulse control and decision making, does not fully develop in most people until around age 25. In the choice that have monumental consequences, a young person may know what he or she ought to do, but their brain is thinking, this is what my group does, this is what I need to do to fit in. But is it? Because a teen's prefrontal cortex is not fully developed, his or her brain relies on the limbic systems to make decisions. The limbic system is responsible for emotional reactions, especially those involving pleasure or excitement. But it also helps create feelings of drive and motivation so that if you put your mind to something, you can accomplish it. Research shows that when teens think things through, they make better choices. The pathways in the brain are strengthened each time an activity or skill is repeated. Daily experiences and decisions actually shape one's brain. So what can we do in our classrooms? Introduce ethical dilemmas in the class. It can open up opportunities for not only debate and critical thinking, but also for personal growth. Maybe empathy for other viewpoints and some self-reflection. Have students write their own moral dilemmas based on situations they or others their age have faced. Authentic opportunities arise all day in the class or in our academic curriculum. Share with students the process for making a good decision. Have them reflect on whether a good choice was made. Have them think about what they would hope one would do. Use examples from literature or current events to show effective and ethical decision making. Another one, review the actions of historical figures, celebrities, other political leaders, and have students create their best possible responses for how things could have turned out with better choices. Finally, listen to your students. Give them opportunities to share their concerns and address the difficult questions on their minds in age-appropriate ways. Make sure we support them in building or maintaining a sense of community and connection. Ensure students understand that responsible decision-making affects all relationships. Michael Josephson, the founder of Character Counts, once said, "I am not and never will be perfect. I'm not always as honest, respectful, responsible, fair, or as kind as I should be. All I can do is what I should do. Strive every day with every decision to be the best person I can be. I don't expect to be perfect, but I know I can be better." This is what Character Count strives to do. Whether young or old, we realize that it's easier to make good choices when we know what our values are.